is it really, is it live, or is this
I
actually,
think it is.
it says it's live.
I
So
think so.
I'm assuming, I
Hi,
guess we're live,
everyone.
that means we're public. So welcome Soul Tribe. Hello, greetings and favor all over us, and welcome. This
Hmm.
is a second look. And you know me and my lovely co-host, Miss Trina Phoenix. How
Hi,
are you
everyone.
doing, my dear?
Oh, I'm doing good, better than I was. Like I said, just getting over a little bit of a back thing. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, things are good.
I
Yeah.
heard you kind of pulled something out, or
Yeah,
backs are very complex organisms, you know that, right?
absolutely. But
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
I was working with Ophiuchus as
Are you there, Trina? Uh we can't hear you, hon. Are you there? We can't hear you. Anyway, hello, there you are.
I have no idea what's going on with this connection
That's
situation,
all
but
right. We are flexible. We're like the reed, we just kind of bend and weave. And so if there's a little frame delay, hey folks, we're multi-time beings, Trina. We really are. We exist in multiple time frames. We just think and fool ourselves that we live in one. You see? Now, as I'm driving the bus, hello from average guy from Kansas. Good to see you. Welcome everybody. A lot of the moderators. How the heck are y'all? Good to see you. Trina, are you back on?
I am.
Okay. All right. So, but is the back doing better?
Yes.
Good, good. Good.
Hmm.
And we're just going to speak favor over this internet connection. Like, we
Thank
got
you.
priority on this, So everyone just back off, just give us our space, and then we're going to, and we're done. We'll let you have the space. And it'll be better
Yes.
than the was before, because our energy, it's the kind of energy that, people, you think about it, Trina, the energy that is generated in this group, and it's been demonstrated time and time and time, is the type of energy that humans go and they spend inordinate amount of monies on spirits called alcohol, spirits called drugs. All these are inducers to generate that euphoric feeling. But we get to do it here just simply for free. No, I mean, that is a consideration to think about.
Hmm.
Would you agree?
Yep.
And this is free. I mean, it absolutely costs you nothing. And anyway, so when we vacate a space, it's like the energy is really charged up. I mean, it's kind of cool. Or did you freeze up again? You see, this is the agility of when we're hello, Mary Wins. How are you? That's all right. See, I'm trying to stay in tune with you telepathically, where it's like, well, all right, and it appears about a 6-second delay. So we can deal with
That
that.
that's a lot, Wayne.
Well, I kind of look at it, if we were on our own planet, there would be a delay talking to someone here on Earth, even at the speed of light.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 seconds, girl, you're out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
Oh, hi, friends.
holy crap.
Hi. Yeah. I said, Brian, come in today. I
Wow. I want
really,
to tell you what, folks, the REM pod is going off and that was both heat, and that was also picking up that electromagnetic um, ripple in the field. Well, Brian, good to see you, buddy.
yes.
Grab a chair, sit. I mean, well, you can sit anywhere. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
you're not bound by the physical laws.
Yeah.
And Brian, you still haven't answered to me, why are all ghosts dressed? Is there a modesty thing on the other side? I mean, or do we get to choose the wardrobe? Buddy, come on, I just a little bit now. Because you think about it, when I cross over, I think I'm probably going to be dressed pretty much like I was when I was probably 1971, the bell bottoms were really out. Platform shoes. I mean, it was probably the only time in my life I was 6'1". Uh, but, because I think the fashion was pretty cool, it was. And if you look at fashion, yeah, back then, particularly coming out of the late 60s, early 70s, it was really expressive, free flowing, you know,
Colorful.
colorful by all means. Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was the thing I remember the most was the beautiful bright colors. Everybody wore colors and paisleys and rainbows and tie-dyes, and there was just all this funky color, and I loved it.
many of my trips on LSD involved paisleys. It was
Mm-hmm.
quite interesting how because you would look down the street and it was undulating and it was paisleys interwaving, and you see the energies of other beings that are actually inside of this energy. And
Rainbow glass.
it's really odd because experimenting with this as you would walk, we all leave a trail behind us. It's really kind of bizarre, but anyway,
Yeah, it's like a boat in an ocean.
it
Yeah.
really is. I
Kind of,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of, yeah. That's how I kind of
I
see it
mean,
too. I'm like,
uh,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's like, all of those who ever were out of that generation, of which I am pleased that I came in at the right time. And then the events in my life allowed me to be a free soul. I didn't have any parental supervision. So, man, I was experiencing it from, many different, but my point is, you could do the tracer thing, you would put
Mm-hmm.
your hand, and it's interesting because what we're really seeing is exactly how it is. We think it's fluid. Nothing is fluid. Everything is in succinct movements.
It seems like it's in pixels.
That's another way of describing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see it in pictures and pixels.
So I
Yes,
watched
pixels.
this video on I think it's the physicist guy or something. I'll have to get it in here, but he had a really interesting video on what the fourth dimension would look like
Hmm.
and how we would look to a fourth dimensional being. Because
Ooh.
a second dimensional being would see us merely as slices, because that's all they see. They can't see anything more than just one direction. While here we have the in 3D, we can go this way, we can go this way, or we can go this way. This gives us three dimension. And so we give the appearance that we have structure and we're whole. So how would a fourth dimensional being look to us? And it's really interesting because a fourth dimensional being, are you ready for this? Would be a giant, would be
That w-
sometimes even bigger than our planet.
that would make so much sense. Yes, I could totally see how that would be equated. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what he said. It was like, 2D, you would then see a 2D would see a 3D being as God, where a
That makes
3D
sense.
being would see a fourth dimensional being as God.
Yes. That's why I keep seeing these big things, Wayne. Remember, I told you that God thing that was holding the earth in its hand like it was a golf ball.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember, I've always
yeah.
seen that. So that makes so much sense to me. I'm like, because when I was little, that's what I was seeing, and I had no references for this stuff. So that was just pure connection.
Yeah,
And I
I mean,
could
it's
see
pretty
these
bizarre.
massive beings. And I could see myself as a massive being. I could, I don't know, but I could supersize and become this thing that was big enough to hold the earth in its hand.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
Huge.
if we identify being in a three-dimensional existence,
Mm-hmm.
then that alone validates that there has to be a first dimension, a second dimension, It has to be a fourth dimension. And if you look at this, I mean, a fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, what we don't understand beyond the fourth dimension as this brilliant young man, I mean, he was brilliant when he was showing, was that we still can't comprehend the fifth dimension, because the fifth dimension then would be something that we haven't been able to construct. What would that look like? How would you? And then that leads to the whole question as I'm watching this, I'm going, okay, so as above, so below, right? As within, so without. And I'm going, okay, so how would that then be interpreted for our spiritual existence?
I think those dimensions.
We can do sign language. You go like, hello. She will be back in here, folks. That's all I got to say. So we just give it a little bit of love. Give a little love to your heart. There you are. Trina, we can see
Can
you.
you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. What is he defining as a fifth dimension?
Okay, so it's interesting, and it's because as we have discussed, the first dimension would be basically an existence where
singular point.
Yeah, it's even hard for us to fathom. It's basically a dot. You would see a single area of a dot. The second dimension is just that it gives us now this, and it gives us this. So I would see you as ever extending as eternity, because you're an endless line. The third dimension is what we have, because we can go up, down, we can go right, left, we can go front, back. Fourth dimension. Go ahead.
Okay, I see that too. One's a dot, one's a barbell. Then you have the triangle. Then it goes into the cube, and then the tesseract.
Very good metaphors. In fact, that's a perfect allegory, Trina. That's why I love you so much on this show. You're so smart. And there she goes. And this allows me this little in between time to do the ad lib. Are you back? No. We can say, are you back? Let's see, John, you say, what dimension does a fly see? Which dimension does a fly see? That's a good question. I mean, it's interesting. It probably, I don't know. I often think about the same thing. What would an octopus see? I mean,
yeah, because everything's based on perception. What we see creates the reality. Interesting.
It's very obvious if you're a fan of Bigfoot that those creatures have the ability to walk in between dimensions. See, isn't that a beautiful smile? That's what it's all about, folks. Look at that. That is a frame you should take of Trina. And then, I mean, that is perfect. Beauty.
I love you, Wayne.
It's true. But seriously, think about it. Did you hear what I was actually saying?
Most of it, I think.
Okay. So you think about the fact that, and that's what we've seen. They actually captured it. These creatures have the ability to, as the Native Americans up in the Northwest say, they open portals. They can walk through, and they got it on camera. You saw the creature walking, and then it walked right through something and disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think because they have the ability to work book 2 dimensions. They can flip back and forth.
And there's always these orbs. There are always the orbs that are above them when they're apparently. So that tells me that, our perception of what, it's like the title of the show, what do you trust, and why is it that our money has it on it? It says, in God we trust. Trust is an important word, isn't it? You see, we could actually do frames of this, and this would be a pretty cool slideshow. because that she's got a kind of that girl look, you know.
Come on, internet.
I love it
Come
because
on.
I thought Marlo Thomas was quite beautiful. I mean, so Trina, you have that, but at times I also see you as I Dream a Genie. You know, you've got that kind of look. You know.
Am I still frozen, Wayne?
No, 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 no.
Okay, good. I'm like,
No.
oh dear goodness, this is getting ridiculous.
Actually, it's quite charming. See, right when I said that. But we can work with this. Eric says the octopi are smarter than the average bear. They're actually smarter than the average human. Many people say that they don't even exist. Hello, hon. Good to see you. So trust. I mean, if there isn't a single aspect of our existence here, wouldn't you say trust would be one of them? Probably the most important thing, right?
It's the foundation of all belief systems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, and what that says, Trina, is that if we remove trust from that equation, holy crap. Now, see, that's a beautiful look. See what I'm saying, folks? This is something, you know, David Barry, I saw you and happy birthday, dude. I know it's a little bit late, but I know you're out with the kids, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, we
and
love
yours
you, David.
is coming soon, Wayne. Happy birthday soon to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Us Geminis, you know, we there are a lot of Geminis in the soul tribe. I mean, you know.
I think so, because you guys are so blessed with the balance, the twins.
Yeah.
Powerful sign. Yeah.
And when people hear me talking, my wife, she's used to it now because I do talk to myself all the time. But I said, you know, I'm a Gemini. I can do that. It's legally allowed.
Right.
It is. I mean,
right.
I've got my twin, you know, it's like,
and
okay.
I claim that Aries, I'm the child. Children have imaginary friends and they talk to themselves too. So back off. I'm the Aries. I'm the child, firstborn.
And lately, I don't know, Trina. It's interesting because I've experienced this quite often. But hey, Jet, what you doing? How good to see you. You know, when you talk to yourself, because we all talk to ourselves, and if people were to go around with a tape recorder and just tape yourself, and then listen to yourself in an 8-hour day. People be doing this like you'd be shaking your head going,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I didn't say
I've
that.
done that. Yeah, I've done that.
Didn't say that. Nope, I didn't say that. Well, that's your voice.
Right.
Yeah, but that I didn't say that. Ain't my pants. I actually had a cop friend of mine actually said that was the funny. They were busted some guy and had drugs in his pocket. And the guy literally said, these ain't my pants. Yeah, so that ain't my voice, you know, but it sounds like ain't my voice. I didn't say that. But anyway, it's that self-talk. And I use it to my advantage. I really do. Can we hear you?
I think you can.
Yeah, we hear you fine.
Wonderful. Yeah, Wayne, I think, like I said, those are the thoughts. The thoughts are the voices. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I know inside, this is what's so odd is that I guess you at some point, I guess every person becomes acutely aware of the duality of our existence, is that there is that being inside of us. I know that I'm listening to my voice, and inside of me, you know what GIF stands for? I love it. Go inside for truth. Was that just freaking phenomenal or what?
When you said that, I was so blown away because that was what I kept hearing too. That the gift was the internal technology of us as this collective group creating.
Let's see how good are we, folks. Sparkle of the color. Hey, Mary Wins, how you doing? Susie Q, Joyce T. Witten, good to see you. Eric off the hook, good to see you. Joyce.
Can you hear me better now, Wayne?
Yeah, can hear you just fine, hon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Gift is brilliant, Wayne. Gift is brilliant.
Well, we watched it live. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, it downloaded in fact, it was as I think it was while Jules was talking, you know, but
And I
yeah.
heard the same thing, and I knew the same thing, that this was the internal technology.
Hey, Gilbert, how you doing? Today is a full super moon. Maybe it's messing with us. I think it has to do with the sun. I think I got a notification that the sun was actually in the midst of a flare. So,
Oh, hey,
how about
Wayne, I'm
that?
going to try something and I'll log right back on. So
Okay.
can you just keep rolling? Okay,
Oh,
I'll be
sure.
back. I'll be back in just a minute.
All right.
Okay.
Asking me as if I don't have something to fill in and say would be like, anyway, but yeah, love you too, Susie Q. Jennifer, good to see you. Mad Cow, how you doing? I think Robert V is in the house. Think agape love always and forever. How you doing, my dear Stephanie and Krista? How are y'all? So hanging out. So yeah, that's what we're doing, hanging out. Trina will be back in. It's the internet. Of course, as I recall growing up, we didn't have the internet. In fact, I can say literally it was probably the last generation that was free. We didn't have technology. There was no way that they could track it, back it, and cultivate us, right? Make a buck off of us. So how is everybody? Auntie Queenie, good to see you. Aloha be unto you, favor. Stefan, good to see you as well. Kim, what's up? Lucky Smith, how are you? Sending healing to your wife and to you, my friend. Love the affirmations. Nick, what's up? Good to see you. Project Skyfalls, Paul Joe. So, Robert V is in the house hanging out. My phone isn't working so good today. It's I think who knows, maybe the Chinese are going to attack, isn't that how we would probably know would be the internet? Yeah, because everything's connected to the internet. Everything. That's what it is. Favor to the soul tribe. I agree with you, Jet. Absolutely. John Price, happy birthday. Thank you, Mary Wynn. Saw that come up. Love you, dear. Hey, off the hook. Thank you. Thank you. Feeling rather dapper myself today, I have to say. I got to tell you, so the REM pod, when Trina was on, did things that I'd never seen before. Yeah. A spirit in the sky. That's all I got to say. There's a lot of energy. It's a good kind of energy, even in the midst of all the chaos and all of the change. Man, it's. Hey, Shannon, what's up? The Schumann resonance is off the cab. So there you go. The Schumann resonance has left the reservation. That's telling us that the earth is feeling something. I feel the earth, sky under my feet. So it is Flag Day. It is that indeed. So, and again, happy birthday to all of y'all who are having one. What do you think of the Google guy saying their computer is sentient? Well, at least we have an archive on my case where 4 years ago, I did an extensive thing. In fact, I did it. What happens the day that AI becomes sentient? What happens? Self-aware? Never occurred to me that it would go through a growth. I mean, hello, Trina.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Well, I see you just fine and hear you good as well. Good to see you.
Hopefully that is better. Okay.
Yeah. They're just trying to mess with us.
Absolutely. For 3 weeks in a row. I'm like, I'm over it.
I had enough of this. Bad enough. Padrico says you cannot be sentient without a soul. It's impossible. Yeah, and then it comes into that whole discussion. Then what is the soul? What is that? Because I contend, as other philosophers do as well, we're not all the same on the inside, Trina. Not everybody has a soul, and I contend we're not all from the same point of creation.
I think so too.
You know, when Lindsay was on, it was that question, and it's the one that I just wish I had these questions decades ago when I had the people I could have talked to. But so if reincarnation is a reality, there's existential evidence that says that it is.
Yes.
And you and I've reached on it, but it has to come back again. So is this the same soul that's being reincarnated? Because it appears to be, oddly enough, we seem to have bodies of our ancestors that many of us, if we had pictures of our ancestors, we look like our ancestors.
I think so. Just sometimes it's supersized.
Yeah, I mean, there's one that, they're showing Nicolas Cage. I mean, the dude that they're looking at, I mean, he's a dead ringer for it. I mean, it's like, that looks like Nicolas Cage. And then you've got this whole thing of the doppelganger. So has a doppelganger got a soul? Trina?
I think it's the other half of the duality of their soul.
So when you just said that this thought just fired off in my neurons. Is it possible that at birth, when we come in, that we split ourselves?
I think we do, potentially up to 7 times. 6 of them with the solid one connecting all 6, like a soul pod.
Wow.
Like a
That's all right. She'll be back on, folks. It's not a problem. That's what you call the moment of silence. Silence is golden, golden, but my eyes. Remember that song? That was what, 1969? Hello, Trina. Good to see you, dear.
Yeah, Wayne, that's what I see. Petals of life.
It's interesting because, well, as I'm sitting here and I'm answering my own question, if we have a higher self that is supposedly our true spirit guide, right?
Yeah.
Then we've split from ourselves, right?
Yeah.
It's, and again, maybe it's that constant nagging sense that, I know I am encased in this. I get it. I know it. And I don't know. It seems like of late, I'm even more aware of it. So I don't know. Is that the longing to go back to that unionship?
I think so. I think you separate so you can experience, but then there's a time when you go back and you integrate what you've learned and then go forth again. I think it's a cycle,
It's like we return to our own mothership.
Yes.
When you said that, that's what I got. It's like this mothership holds the aspect of the essence of what I am. And I really don't know how to define what I is, other than that it gives me in a 3-dimensional world a point of being. I think she froze up. That's okay.
Can you see me? Can you see me now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen it in so many different ways, like an eye inside of an eye, inside of an eye, like eyeballs, perceptions, different points of view, perception, it's perception. And then I've seen the spaceship inside of a spaceship, inside of a spaceship. And then like a body inside of a cell, or inside of an organ, inside of a cell, or inside of the brain. I've seen all these different analogies of what the soul is. So it's very complex, I think.
And I've asked, I've talked on this. So is the soul consciousness, is that what makes us sentient? Not so much a soul, but the fact that that we're self-aware, or is it the fact that this, Is it consciousness that really what we're talking about, instead of something that's really esoteric in its definition of a soul?
I think the consciousness would create a soul.
I give thanks now to that which I cannot see nor comprehend, but I do give thanks to it, because whatever gave me consciousness is to that which I owe a gratitude to. As she'll come back on. I mean, think about it, folks. It isn't that what really is the gift here, is consciousness. And that may be the only thing we can all truly trust in, that we're conscious, right?
Yes.
Or maybe that's a freaking illusion. I don't know.
I don't, that's a potential. Shit, Wayne.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, I've seen that the consciousness goes with the sun, the solar galactic sun of each universe. And that could be a different consciousness.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's all connected, and then I get to think, well, what happens if wow. Well, someone's here. Welcome. Now that is a look of a freeze. Come on, folks. That one would be great. Trina, that is a classic look, dear. You'll have to go back and look the replay.
Oh boy, that's probably not a good one.
Are you kidding? I would put it in your portfolio. It's perfect.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm going, it's going to be interesting watching this one.
Perfect, though. I mean, seriously, I would put that in my portfolio. I don't know if you have one, but you should really think about modeling. You would really have a good career in that. That's all right. The check is in the mail. Let's see. Neil Young, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I love this. Got some smart people in here, Trina. See, that's another good look. I'm telling you, that would be a neat little project to do. It's beautiful, Trina. I'm just telling you, it is absolutely beautiful. So, Trina, do you know why this is In God We Trust is on our money?
Yeah.
I can give you let me show you something. This is quite interesting. This is deep too, folks. So on this date, July 11th, 1955, it's just a little almost 3 weeks after I was born. On this date, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed into law H.R. 619. This is really weird because I was born on 619, a bill that required 619.55, by the way, that the inscription "In God We Trust" appear in all paper and coin currency. Representative Charles E. Bennett of Florida introduced the resolution in the House, where it won fast-track backing from the Committee on Banking and Currency and support from like-minded members such as Herman Eberharder of Pennsylvania or Harris of Arkansas. Nothing, and listen to this, folks, nothing can be more certain than that our country was founded in a spiritual atmosphere and with a firm trust in God. Now, notice that God is capitalized G, but it's not in all capital letters. So this is significant because it's signifying a demigod. Let's continue. Bennett proclaimed on the House floor, while the sentiment of trust in God is universal and timeless, these particular 4 words, "In God we trust," are indigenous to our country. Furthermore, Bennett invoked the Cold War struggle in arguing for the measure. In these days, when imperialistic and materialistic communism seeks to attack and destroy freedom, we should continually look for ways to strengthen the foundation of our freedom, he said, adding, "In God we trust" to currency, Bennett believed would serve as a constant reminder that the nation's political and economic fortunes were tied to its spiritual faith. The inscription had appeared on most U.S. coins since the Civil War, when Treasury Secretary Solomon P. Chase first urged its use. Until passage of the 1955 law, however, "In God We Trust" had not appeared on paper currency and from time to time had not been inscribed on certain classes of coins. Bennett's measures sailed through the House and passed unilaterally. So the point to all of this, Trina, is I have contended on many occasions that the God that the United States worship, that is on all the money, wait a minute, maybe not all, but let's just think, but is in fact the God of war. Because we've never had a God of peace. Eisenhower just came out of the World War II. We were in the Cold War. And so we inscript on this thing here, "In God We Trust." Are you back? Now you're on mute, hon. Okay.
I'm here. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Isn't that odd, though, that this was, it's interesting because, again, we don't know which God they're referring to, but it says that the nation has a spiritual foundation.
You know what I keep hearing? It's media. The goddess media.
Mm. Do you know where "In God We Trust" is not printed? She'll be back on, folks. Is that Sandel? I agree. Trina, do you know where "In God We Trust" is not on our money?
You showed me, but I did not know that.
Well, so it's not on gold. This is, a 1 ounce, $50 gold piece. It is not on gold.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
why is it on everything else except something that really has what we would really call tangible value?
Because the fiat is not real.
And what if the fiat currency was dedicated to something? Because I contend there is already a God that's God over gold. Been around, I don't know for how long back.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, every culture, every religion dealing with a deity had gold.
Yes. Yes. All the way back to Elohim, all the way.
All the way back. And that brought the question then is, now are we talking about the Anunnaki here? Why this fascination, with gold? But here, not to get too far off the track, but it's not imprinted in at least, that it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, what is the God we trust on the dollar? What is that God? What is the name of that God?
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I know this gets off this whole thing because, again, the whole country of the United States has been founded on this perception that we are a godly nation. And the equation to that is, well, it is a godly nation. It's really a specific demigod. And I contend.
Don't you think it changed when they changed the system from the United States Treasury gold-backed dollar and silver-backed dollar to the fiat currency? I think that's when the God changed at that time. That God and we trust on the dollar, the fiat, the currency we now hold, is not the same God of the United States of its foundation. They're two different gods.
I happen to think that you're absolutely spot on with this because listen, if we have this perception of "In God We Trust," well, then it begs to define, well, then what is God? Who is God? What God? And all roads.
Think this one, Wayne, is called media.
I like this, that
And it's the goddess of media, which is radio waves. And it's the goddess of like also too, it'd be like the Statue of Liberty.
well, have you seen what adorns our Capitol building? That is the goddess freedom,
Yes.
Diana. Yes. I mean, I can really dig this. And then if you think in people, I've done a show on this, the United States House, the chamber, the House of Representatives meet in, is in fact designed after a temple.
Yes.
Okay. So, the question is, what do we trust? And why? So that's a question I'd like, because we got a full group, and thank you for hitting the like button. So everyone in the chat room, could you just tell me what it is that you believe? What is it that, no, don't believe. What is it that you trust? And then tell us why. And then Trina, I don't know if you can see the chat room, but I'm monitoring it here as well, because it's a good question. I asked myself this morning. I said, Wayne, what do you trust? What is it that you absolutely trust? And it's really odd because there's only a couple of people that I would say I truly trust. And the number one is myself.
Correct.
And Trina, do you know how long it took me to trust myself?
It takes a long time. But you know what, though? I kind of got through that really young, because if I didn't trust myself, the consequences were so quick and so fast and so brutal. I kind of learned really young not to do that. So that was a gift that I did receive as a child.
What an enlightened group here. Guess what the number one response is?
What?
Trust myself.
Yeah, self. I had a feeling that's what they would say.
That's it. See, this is why I really dig this group.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I dig this group. I mean, because that is so. Hey, Brandy, how you doing, dear? That is Dave Sellum. Good to see you, Paul, Joe. Yeah.
Treasure. Brandy, you're such a wise girl. I just love Brandy.
She is, I love this group.
Hi, everyone. I love this whole tribe. Grandpa,
Stephanie,
Elderberry, and Jamie, and Sonali, Stephanie, John.
It's a full crowd in here, babe.
Courtney.
Yeah, Peter, good to see you.
Loretta, hi.
So, and then I was looking at this, and with Lynn and myself, I mean, we've been married going on 11 years, and and I said, well, and that's interesting, because that is a journey of, as in relationships, it's a constant trust building.
Yeah, and you got to grow with your lives together. You got to find a way to keep growing together, so you still trust and grow together. Yeah.
That is so. Arkle says Trina is a pure soul. Yeah.
I just saw that. Thank you so much.
Hey, Laurie, good to see you. Courtney, hello. I trust that. Bonnie, what's up? Gaza, how you doing? Man, it's early out there. I think he's up in the Queensland, up in that area. Grandpa Brian, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. So it's interesting, this thing called trust. She'll be back. There we are. Yeah. It's the foundation, as you said, to everything. Without it, it's wow.
You got nothing.
And then isn't it interesting, as you were saying, media, because it is the media that pushes the fear, and fear is rooted in non-trust. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Folks, I'm telling you, it would be a project for someone to capture each one of this. I love it. Trina, you're beautiful, dear. That is just fabulous. I mean, but she'll be back on here. But isn't it true?
Yes, it is true.
Yeah, it is.
Very true. It's the truest thing. If you don't have trust, you won't exchange energy.
Yeah.
It blocks the flow of creation. It stops it immediately.
Yeah. Wow. And it is, if it is the foundation. I mean, because that's what fear does. Fear goes into divide. It brings suspicion. The book of Proverbs says, don't associate with a gossip bear, because a gossip bear, or one who speaks in whispers, will separate close friends.
Oh, yes.
That's why gossip is always frowned upon, because it does separate.
Yes, it divides.
It divides. Yeah.
It stops the trust.
Bingo. And then you and it's so true in relationships where one partner has been unfaithful to the other. And when that is discovered, and when I used to do a lot of counseling with couples, is that it's amazing, because and it's both with the male and the female, but years later, the partner that violated the trust will always have that small reservation in the back of their mind.
Yes.
And that's not trust anymore.
No.
It's
That's
almost a conditional.
Yeah, it's a precious thing. And
It is.
You typically have it and you earn deeper trust, but you're already given trust until there's a reason not to. But once there's a reason not to, it's very hard to reestablish a trusting relationship.
Whitney's 33rd birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
So I always like, when I think on these things, always trying to draw it back and saying, so what was the first trust that was violated? I mean, if thought originated from a point of a singularity of thought, then when did the betrayal take place? Because that would be what? The injection of mistrust?
Yes, or the altering of our human species by trusting another species with that which was so precious to us. Maybe that was the original, was Genesis.
People are relating to what I just said. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it really is. And then, I had this conversation with a group of pastors I met with, and as I was telling them that if you really look at this, and if you say that there is a judgment, the only thing that could judge you is you. I mean,
that's where it goes.
It's just that simple. I mean, a God would not be qualified to judge you. And then that bears to the question, then what are you judging yourself on? And then, get this, Trina, it comes back to this issue that most people mistrust themselves. They don't trust themselves. How do you trust anything if you don't trust yourself? You're living in a delusion. You're deluded.
It's the first work. You can't receive that which you can't vibrate at. It's the law of frequency. If you can't be that, you will not receive that. Period.
And you carry this further for myself.
Yeah.
Now I know why I struggled for nearly 50 years in believing a God that I could neither see nor actually interface with. But the thing about it was built on mistrust from the beginning, because even it tells me that I can't trust myself. The Apostle Paul writes extensively about that in the New Testament, how we can't trust ourselves. Well, how am I supposed to trust a God? And think about this. For relationships where infidelity, or let me tell you, it's just not infidelity. Infidelity exists in many different levels.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. And that roots back to the individual, because and you almost find it every time. They don't trust themselves. And so they don't trust themselves. That's when they begin to have suspicion on the other person.
Yes. Every time.
Every time. Every freaking time.
And then every relationship that begins with those premises of adultery or cheating or something to that line,
Yeah.
they always fail for the same reason. They eventually end up getting cheated on or cheated on. And
it's a cycle. I swear it is. It's like, and it's like, holy crap, man. I mean, Lynn and I were talking and we both just started laughing because you get so wrapped into this thing that, and as she was commenting, she says over, the decade that she has known me, that she has seen that there is this stronger intuition within myself, trusting my gut feeling and not overriding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing that we need to work on. I really
also says it's the same with love. You have to love yourself before you can truly love. Gaza, that and that's how media, this perverse goddess, works, is that, because again, organized religion says, well, that is the epitome of pride. Satan looked upon himself and fell in love with himself. That's the standard byline. And that carries over even into esoteric teachings.
Yep.
Well,
images, false
thank you.
Images.
Yeah.
Yes. And what does media do? Produces images on the television.
Television. Yeah. There we are again. It's like, it's like, man. And it's, again, it's this trust and why. It's one of the questions that if I trust myself, New says Satan is a narcissist. I don't know. I mean, and again, we create vocabulary,
right,
in order to convey a egregore, a thought form. And so narcissism by a philosophy, no, it's not even a philosophy. Let me go through a psychology. That's where narcissism was defined at. The problem with even modern day psychiatry and psychology, it's all based on a hypothesis.
Yes.
So if we're saying narcissism is bad, well, we have to go back and find who was the asshole that invented the word that began to define he or her clients.
And I think, like I said, all these are just energies of polarity. One is the doubtful mind, and one is the reassuring mind. And like you said, it's the devil and the angel. It's just polarity. So that's exactly what it is. The Satan is the one that pretends to be God but isn't God. That's because you're dealing with the human mind. You're not in your spiritual mind. So until you can connect to your spiritual mind, you're listening to a lesser mind, which is going to be possibly running you into a ditch and throwing you in there for a while. So these are all just perceptions of consciousness.
And it's within that. I know beloved Abstract's always talking about ego. And I've meditated on this to the nth degree. If you don't have ego, then what do you identify yourself as?
Correct.
I mean, again, so is narcissism bad? I mean, what is it? What is it saying? It's saying that you're so in love with yourself that only you matter. Well, let's just be honest. When you die and cross over, the only thing you're going to be concerned about is you, baby. I'm not going to be worried about, anything else but about what's happening to me.
Yeah. I think that's immediate for all people. I think that's pretty
I guess it could be. I don't know. Let's see. Brandy says narcissists lack empathy.
Yes.
Now that's interesting, Brandy. I like that. That hey, flight risk, they let you out there.
And see, narcissism typically it needs a victim. It's like their self-love isn't wrapped within themselves. They're manipulating others so they could feel better about themselves. And that's a difficult twist because it causes the person they're narcissistic towards to doubt their own rational thought patterns.
Well, if
So,
you think about, in growing up through the corporate ladder,
yeah,
number of times had to take the Briggs-Meyer test.
yeah.
And many of you who have done the Briggs-Meyer test or similar type testing,
Can I ask what you are?
for me,
Yeah.
yeah, I am what they actually I was on the double A. I'm an extrovert, exhibit signs of confidence, have high aptitude with number, logic, but conversely, I'm a C as well, which is the creative aspect.
Yes.
So they identified me very easily that I had left brain, right brain type of interaction. So
I do too.
yeah,
I was the ENTJ. So, and then I
yeah.
switched later in life. It switched. My test switched.
It would. And
It did.
that would be normally to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's, now I've got a lot of the I instead of the E, and then I've got a lot of the C instead of the, it's changing. So
I got
it's
the
very
test in my
interesting.
files. I had to give myself the test. You know, I taught
I
that.
was thinking about that too. I think I need to do another Myers-Briggs. I think it's time.
You know, I've got the test. In fact, I taught for a number of years responsive selling, and it was based upon the Briggs-Meyer personality profile, and we just adapted it for more what we would call natural intuition of high performing individuals. Because the type of companies that, I worked for, when they would hire a sales representative, an account executive, these people were responsible for bringing in multi-million-dollar accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so companies, when they identify those profiles, at least back in the day, I don't know what they do nowadays, but those
Apparently
employees
seeking out the occult.
apparently could you get over that? I couldn't get over that.
I was floored, Wade. I was like, what?
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
and email me that lives in San Mateo. I won't go any further than that, and said, "Welcome to the new real."
Mhm.
Apparently, I guess I'm like the 12th man on the deal in the totem pole, because it's not talked about.
I know.
This is why the individual said this was very rare. They said they obviously are having an issue that they were needing something, yes. Occult based, but yeah. So the individual,
but like I said, Wayne, time of revelations.
Boy.
This is the great revealing. It is time for the revealing. This is definitely spot on with the energy that I saw that had to come forth to make serious, significant changes. And it's all about consciousness. Bottom line.
and I think you look at corporate America, there's an agenda that drives the corporate egregore, but you have thousands, tens of thousands, smaller ones. And they're finally waking up to the fact that and again, the conversation, I'll just tell folks, they were looking for a competitive advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're starting to realize that these logos are magic sigils, and they're starting to realize the power of these things. And this is it. And I think this is why the money is getting ready to collapse, because nobody trusts it anymore, Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Shenny, you're absolutely right. I think there's many in this group that are right brain, left hemisphere.
I'm even left-handed, and I mean, throw with my right. I'm ambidextrous. So
exactly it. I can eat. I like, actually, there's certain things I like doing with my left hand than I use in my right hand. And it's interesting, as I've gotten older, I've become more proficient in my left hand, then I will eat with my left hand.
I write with both hands, but I never knew. I write on like chalkboards and stuff, big stuff. I use my right hand. And then when I write with my pen, it's my left. But I never even knew I did it. But I was playing school with the kids, and I was being the teacher. And my mom looked at me and she's like, "You realize you're writing with your right hand right now?" And I was like, "Oh my, no, I didn't realize. I just didn't even know." Didn't even know.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I could say something, but I'm not. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because my wife would kick my ass, But yeah. Co Queen says, I shot pool left-handed. That's interesting. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Gina Rose, how? I haven't seen you in a long time, dear. Good to see you. Deborah
Oh,
Truex,
Deborah
how are?
Trudeau. That was an amazing comment. Trust is the
Yeah.
contract of the heart, too easily broken by the mind. Wow. Spot on,
Oh,
Deborah. That was powerful truth. Beautiful.
that
She
one
is
should be
such a
made.
wise woman.
That should be made into a t-shirt.
Oh, I'm telling you, that was a
That was
profound
good.
one. I
That's
was like,
Deborah. That
that was
was cool.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Uh,
She simplified an entire thought in like a beautiful sentence of
yeah,
profound
yeah, I like that.
truths. Yeah.
And again, and again, that shows the duality of what we're dealing with: the
Yeah.
heart to the
Yes.
mind.
Yes. And if you don't think with your heart, you're going to get trapped in the construct. You have to get back into the heart to get out of the construct.
I
It's
feel like I'm
not.
in the matrix and I'm in this room that has, the unlimited amount of cells
Yes.
of me, and I'm thinking I'm the one that's in, in the control, the wheelhouse, but so does every one of the other me's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
But
hey,
but they
dude, man.
probably are.
They probably are.
Well, yeah, they're holding
uh,
your consciousness. I sometimes wonder, I'm like, are we in the heart or are we in the brain? I'm like, which one are we actually sitting in? And I have a feeling there's something going on with that, but I do have a feeling we might be in the brain and we might be getting ready to go back to the heart. Because I think there's a transfer between those neuron cells.
So are we in the Taurus?
Oh, for sure. Every cell is in the torus, and the whole body's in the torus, and the aura is in the torus, and it's bigger. And then that's
It used to bother me, because you get it's like being in the washing machine. But if in truth that's what it is, that we're actually in our existence is this Taurus.
Yes.
So that means that I've been on this trip before. So my attitude
Yeah.
now is just sit back and enjoy it, dude.
It was really cool when I was a little kid. I got shown the world got thrown in like a washing machine.
I can believe that.
Yeah, when it went to the spin cycle, the central Earth birthed 12 new positions on a new zodiac sign of 12 new reality Earths existing, and then it was connected to an as above, so below system. It was a trip what I was seeing. It was the interesting.
Lilith says that
thrown in the spin cycle, Wayne. Whee!
maybe that's. Lilith did try to warn us on that to a degree, didn't she?
Yes.
All right, Trina, that hour went by like, greased lightning. I mean, geez,
it always does.
hell?
And the technology seems to have balanced out. So that
you're coming, as they would say, 5 by 5, nice and strong. All right, folks. Well, whatever you put your trust in, I hope that, you trust yourself first. Gold and silver and paper money. Listen, we don't take that with us. The only thing we do take with us is ourselves.
Yeah,
hopefully.
your consciousness.
Hopefully.
Yeah, the consciousness.
A toroidal field. Thank you. That is correct, Brandy. I think I was right. Yes.
Toroidal fields. Yes, absolutely.
We are. All right, Trina, this has been a Far Out show. Mary Wins, much love to you. Cowboy, good to see you as well. Unconditional love. That's the way it is. Jill, good to see you, darling. Well, Trina, always fun to see you. I'll see you next week.
See you. Yes,
absolutely. Keep yourself well.
I will. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for staying with, just working through the technical glitches. That was so cool.
And I won't stop until it's working out again. So we can keep on going.
Love it. Grandpa, Brian and Brian 1958. Much love to all of y'all. Trina, I'll see you next week.
Oh, can't wait.
All right. Thank you, dear. It's always an honor to have you.
It's an
and
honor
Soul Tribe, thank you all of you. We will see you tomorrow. Going to talk about the birth certificate.
Ooh, interesting.
Interesting. All right. Much love, everyone.